Hello students, welcome back after your vacation. So from today you would be learning online, as you know. Okay. So what you would be learning now is, you know that it's programming. You already know this, and you know that we use a program called Python IDLE. Let me show it to you. This is the one that you use. If you don't have it, you have to download Python and install it, so you get this. Once you install it, you have to look for IDLE. This is the version of Python that we want. Okay, let's start off with a lesson. What you have today is, the name of the lesson is Python Create a Basic Program. And the name of the program, or the concept of the program that we would create, is determine whether a number is positive or negative. I hope all of you know the difference between a positive number and a negative number. Okay, for example, let me tell you, 1 is a positive number, minus 1 is a negative number. So this is the difference between positive or negative. I think all of you know this. Okay, let us all continue to the objectives. You have 3 objectives here. The first one is to be able to understand data types used. You have to understand which data type is used for which variable. Okay. And then you have to be able to understand variables and methods used. You have to see what variables are used and why it is used there. Okay. And the third objective that you have is be able to create the program. You have to be able to create this program and run it without any errors. So let me show you your booklet for term 3 first of all. This is your booklet for term 3, grade 12 IT term 3 booklet. Okay, you just have 4 programs here. I've made only 4 programs for this term. The first program, like I told you, is determine whether a number is positive or negative. These are the codes. These are the codes for this program. I've given you the codes. What you have to do is download this booklet from the portal and access these codes. Let me copy this code first. Let me copy it into Python. I will say copy. I will right click and say copy, and then I will open Python, and like we used to do before in the class, you would select file and say new file. Okay. In this new file, I would right click and paste my program. I think all of you could see this. Let me enlarge the codes. We'll go to options, configure IDLE. You don't have to do this, guys. I'm just showing you. I just want you to be clear with what you see. Let me make it 18 and say apply. Say OK. Now I think you see all these codes. The first code, n equals int. Let me tell you what n is. N is a variable. What is a variable? A variable is when you assign something a value. So you put n here as a variable. It could be anything. It could be A, B, C, anything. It could be a name. It could be anything. So I'm telling you again, a variable is when you assign a value to something. This is something, and you are assigning it a value with this equal sign. So n is a variable. That is a part of your objective, to identify or be able to understand what variables are used and why it is used. N is a variable and int stands for integer. It is a data type that is used for numbers. This code here tells the program that n is equal to integer. The type of data for n is integer, which means number. And then you open the bracket, and then you have input, open the bracket again, and within double quotes you say enter number. This is the input method. What this will do is, once the program runs, there should be a value for n, right? You could also do this. If I say n equals 5, n will always be equal to 5. It will not change unless you change it from the code. But this command, what it will do is, once the program runs, it will ask you for the value of n. You will be giving the value of n. You can give a value each time the program runs. So we have no problem with assigning the value of n. If you say n equals 5, n is always 5. You cannot change it unless you change the code. But if you have this program, if you have this code, what this does is, when the program runs, it will ask you for the value of n. You have to enter a number. Let me show you how that works. So remember guys, you have already learned this before. This is not new to you. Input accepts the value given for a variable by a user. Which means here, in this portion, when the program runs, it will ask you, give us a value for n. So you will be giving a value for n. And the second code, if within brackets n is greater than 0. If n is greater than 0, which means, let me show you on Notepad, which means if n is greater than 0, the meaning is if n is, what is greater than 0? The meaning is, if n is, what is greater than 0? N is greater than 0, which means it could be 1 which is greater than 0, it could be 2 which is greater than 0, it could be 3, it could be 4, it could be anything after 0. So you have 0 here, it could be anything after 0. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, anything. It could be anything more than 0. Okay? So that is the meaning of if n is greater than 0. So, if n is greater than 0, what will happen is, it will print number is positive. What does print command do? You have already learned this before. Print command gives you the output, the result. So if n is greater than 0, the result would be number is positive. This would be the answer from the program. Okay? So print, what does it do? The print command gives you the result. The result comes from these. The result is in between the brackets. So if n is greater than 0, if this is true, then the result would be number is positive. Okay. Like I told you, if n is greater than 0, then it would print number is positive. It would say number is positive. Else, what does else mean? Else means that if n is greater than 0, then it will print number is positive. If n is not greater than 0, what would it do? If n is not greater than 0, it would run this code. Instead of saying number is positive, it will say print number is negative. Okay? Let me explain it to you again. If n is greater than 0, that is if n is greater than 0, which means if n is 1, 2, 3, 4, anything, it can be anything, it will go on. All these are greater than 0. If n is not greater than 0, if this is not true, if this condition is not true, instead of running this code, it will run this code. It will say print number is negative. So the result would be, the program would say number is negative. So that is what this else command does. For example, if a condition given is true, if this condition is true, it will print this. If condition is not true, it will say else, it will do something else. Okay? For example, if I call out to your name, let's say Abdullah from 12C, if I call out your name, Abdullah, if you are present, I would mark yes. Else, if you are absent, I will say X or absent, which means you are not there. It's a condition. For example, now I can give you another example. If your score is more than 50, you get pass. Else, you get fail. That is how this if and else work. I hope you understand this code. If you don't, if there is anything, please let us know through the portal. Now let me run this code. Once you type this code on Python, ideally, you would say run and say run module. This would ask you to save the program. Let me save the program. I will save it on desktop as positive or negative. You can save it as anything. And the file type would be Python file. Let me save it.